connect now. Now we're connected. And
Now you're up.
now I should be reopening the X connection.
Yeah, you're up again.
Okay, good. Frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I have to wait for the chat to recongregate.
If they recongregate.
Oh, that's the most frustrating part of the broadcast. Anyways, middle of my answer. Gurgate is effectively to save for words because the words are not accurate, but to save the paragraph of this explanation. Religious, zealot-like right-wingers utilizing the momentum behind Gamergate 2.0 to create a sub-movement about the sanitization of any risque material and content that they do not like, and hypocritical reinforcement of gooner content that they do like in their games, in their materials, in their gameplay, and any place where they could have an opinion about the content they're watching. Headphones off. My feet are ashy. I'm putting on lotion. Summarily, as best as I could really call them, the three individual figures that designed it behind and around themselves are effectively literal capital G grifters. They are not a joke. They are the real deal. They are real grifters. They have decided they're going to pivot the conversation into mobilizing for their cause. They do not care about anyone but themselves and their bank. That's it. It is a nothing burger of a nothing burger. Because every single bit of what they've decided to complain and bitch about has been demonstrated over time as not real. Most recent example being their campaign to try and harass Daniel Vavra and the team behind Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. It was the biggest pile of nothing burger dog shit that is simply debunked by playing the video game and doing your research. But they did not care about doing research. They cared about getting as many eyes on the subject matter as they can, which has resulted in the current event that is happening, which is every single person denouncing John Delaroz as a grifter who simply attaches himself to a movement to monetize it the same way that favored non-American citizen talking about American politics, still gray Ian Miles Chungus chooses to do, and technically in a similar trolley way, but less committed way that Miley Benopoulos does whenever he gets involved in something. It was and is the most easy example of why people pretty much tune out any of these gate-like situations that develop. Because since there is no established leader with a clear mission statement and a common goal, they are very subject to feature creep. And because they're subject to that feature creep, your ability to handle and deal with the problem amounts to, here's a person who wants to get involved. What is his motives? I wonder what he talks about on the regular. Look at the content on their channel. Oh, it's just a guy who's gonna use this to talk about how much Space Jesus is gonna come back. So, the kind of thing that you would expect from the lolcow side of someone like Chris Chan, just replace the dimensional merge is gonna happen, and Sonny Chu is going to finally marry me. Instead becomes, I hate gamers so much, I'm gonna ruin their video games, and I'm gonna get paid money to do it. I'm going to use their tools against them. That's all that's happening here. The literal example of why you gatekeep your hobbies and your movements. I don't see how anyone's going to support him moving forward, but, you know, stupider people have existed. I hope that person is there in chat to hear that answer.
What?
Oh.
So, TLDR, it's all gay.
It's all gay. It's all
It's all
optic space.
very, very gay.
It's all optic space. It's all gay. And it's very boring. Because if you ever try to address them directly on the subject matter, they will always avoid discussion. because lore is the basis of how you debunk them. They thrive on misinformation and purposefully spreading misinformation as true.
And that's why when JDA does his little religious post of, oh, did you take your wife and kids to the church today? No, but I also didn't beat my wife.
Did you pray today? Did you pray today? He can beat your ass on some white beater shit.
That's what I always come back with. I quote tweet him every time and go, I don't beat my wife. That's definitely not one of God's teachings.
When Jesus was flipping over tables in Pharisees in the house of the Lord, was he backhanding Mary Magdalene? I don't think so.
I mean, he was clapping her from behind, but...
but that's heresy. Jesus was a good boy. He never had sex.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I don't believe that one, but...
I mean, shit, people don't accept the fact that Jesus had brothers and sisters. Less about jokes that you'll hear from Dogma and fucking the Da Vinci Code. They won't address direct conversation and direct concerns. I've shown before how whenever I do, like, my nigga on the street Twitter posts at them, they basically try to find a talking point that helps them avoid having to address it. You used a fallacy ad fatum. I don't have to address your conversation. It's like, bitch, I said stop being a pussy.
Ad hominem argument, invalid, points invalid. You're just debate broing.
Unfortunately, they act like the biggest fucking debate bros. Even people that, just for the bit, could do the debate bro thing just to piss them the fuck off. Filling them with their Holy Spirit. Ah, I see, Bolster, you're a man of culture. Yes, this is indeed the OST of Heroes of Might and Magic 4, and I will be using it inside the Avowed review. They act like the biggest fucking debate bros, despite never having streamed on Twitch. They remind me of the biggest coochies that you could ever come across. Whenever I see them, I just imagine that it's a sock puppet for Shark 03. And I just have no problem just body blow, headshot, speed bag the balls. Or at least I would if they had any. Because I don't.
And they don't.
Because I don't want this in my gaming spaces, man. I'm doing my job, okay? You might say harassment campaign. I say keeping the rent low.
Uh-huh.
This is how I secure my franchises, alright? By acting like the most sardonic, idiosyncratic jackass I possibly can to people who I do not want to populate my fucking circles.
You are not allowed in. We are gatekeeping you. Yes, we are.
So, like, there's probably some lore that I've missed, but all you really need to know, between him and Melanie Mac, because I consider between the both of them being John Trent and John Del Raz, I consider them the same person. It seems everywhere he goes, he brings Trent with him like a purse puppy. Would you be out of line for asking for a quick summary of the topic, what I'm currently talking about? I've already talked about the Korra drama. I'm currently answering, ironically, a troll question from James Hurley about who's worse between John Del Raz and Melanie Mac and dropping lore. Before the stream died, I was in the middle of explaining what I just finished explaining. But in total, I'm taking on our air calls from people who have subjects to talk about. And
except for me.
Well, do you have one you want to talk about?
Fuck no.
But between John Del Raz and Melanie Mac, JDA is always going to be worse. Melanie Mac's going to say whatever she can to keep herself in the zeitgeist and her attention. So, when I was talking to Cassie's chat the other day, one of the things we came across was a question between myself and one of her chat members, which was, is somebody like Smash JT going to be capable of remaining relevant after his lawsuit is over? And I see Smash's problem, which is being unable to just take a fucking L and say, you know what, maybe I should stop poll posting. That's going to be the direct relevancy of what's going to kill his career, if anything at all. Like, we got into, like, discussion and analysis on whether or not he understood the rule of thirds for his thumbnails or whatever, but it's much simpler. Can he do his job? No. And the way that I know is that in that discussion we ended up having, we ended up finding his fucking Steam account. And I'm going to show you all here what I discovered too, and I want you to ask me whether or not you think that this is something you should expect of someone that should be a content creator that calls themselves talking about material relevant to gaming, and whether or not you think this is acceptable for someone who is a content creator to do when their entire job is talking about gaming news. Alright? We're going to look at his games, and you tell me if this is acceptable. Boom, 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 boop, bada boop, bang, pow. On screen. So, looking at his most recently played, he has been playing a lot of Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection. Ain't no problem with that. Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Ain't no problem with that. Using a lot of Steam VR. Ain't no problem with that. Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii demo. Ain't no problem with that. Intravenous 2. Ain't no problem with that. Gorilla Tag, because I have to assume he's sharing his computer with his kids. Ain't no problem with that. Buckshot Roulette. Ain't no problem with that. And 25 minutes of Black Myth Wukong. But what-oh? What's this? 10.8 hours total played of Black Myth Wukong. Well, since this is a story-based game, and its achievements are synced up with inline quest shit, let's look at what he has. Interesting. You have 5 achievements, and 2 of these are literally the Beginner Tutorial Achievement, Beginner Tutorial Equipment Achievement, Beginner Tutorial Early Game Chapter 1 Boss Completion, Early Game Flask and Gourd Achievement, and then an expansion and upgrade of your Gore Achievement. When were these logged?
Nothing.
September 1st, August 28th, August 25th, August 24th, August 20th. Let's go to his channel. Let's cross-reference this. Let's do some actual fact-based on-the-ground reporting. Based on Smash JT's work, because he always posts everything based on the zeitgeist, we can actually see exactly when he posted what he posted. Because ironically, while we're on the same page of this, one of the things that is important and relevant to cross-referencing this is you have to look not just at what he's posted in videos, but also what he posted in lives. Because something that I came to discover about Smash JT and how he covers things is whenever he has to do solo content that doesn't feature another content creator, he will private the stream under members only, or he will unlist it. So I know the other day, probably at the same time that I was streaming yesterday, he had a live here. That live is now gone. All of his streams, whenever he posts, cold posting, cold posting, cold posting. And you'll notice, this only picked up in a specific time period. Well, let's look. 6 years ago, 5 years ago, 5 years ago. This is San Diego Comic-Con 2019. San Diego Comic-Con 2019. An early piece of the Smash JT show, back when he first developed the cover of his channel, which was designed after literally Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo 64. Indie World, Nintendo Switch livestream, Entelico Amico Live special event on 10/10/2020, 4 years ago. Congress hearing, Robin Hood, Citadel, and Roaring Kitty, which is probably going to be where he first got his investment into Game Stonks. Then, the Game Stonks shit, because that's how he got his nest egg to start doing the broadcasting. Let's review Amico, 2 years ago, self-roasting, 10,000 lost on Intellivision Amico. Let's talk about the Intellivision Amico cult, 2 years ago. 8 months ago, emergency live stream, members only. We won, live stream celebration. Members only. 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 Fucking late night naughty times with Kim Belair featuring Gothic Therapy, and I guess a meeting with Master of the TDS. This one's public. Because it's featuring other people. Members only. How bad could it get? We have to talk. Members only. Sweet Baby Origins. Members only. Twitch GSO caught hardcore creeping. Members only. This is material that you could be able to put in video format. Live streams of 2 hours and such, edited down, you could definitely do so. This one's public. Unraveling the insane tangled SBI web featuring Master of the TDS. Roasting Dragon Age cringe featuring Sael. The world is ending. Members only. Kotaku Dumpster Fire Watch Party. Members only. Roasting Forbes writer Paul Tassi because he's a ... Members only. Roasting failed journal Alyssa Mercante 3 months ago. Members only. What was it kind of funny? Making fun of the kind of funny guys trying to shit on gamers because gamers dare do their own research and not trust journalists. Members only. Game Awards featuring side-scrollers. Members only. He's back to complete the job featuring the completionist Gerard. Public. The other stream before that, which was I'm being cancelled. That one immediately members only. But he immediately backpedaled on this, you see. Something that was talked about between myself and Cassie and her audience was the fact that she had to call in live as he was talking shit on a broadcast where he was trying to pivot towards pushing the conversation about DEI woke shit away from saying that the game is shit without having any subject matter to publicize because he was simply just going off vibes alone. But let's get to the videos, since that's what we're looking for. Easily, for us, our job can be easily put together. Wu Kong.
Were you supposed to be showing this on stream?
Yes. It's probably not.
Because I'm not seeing anything.
It probably wasn't on the screen this time. I'm stupid.
It wasn't.
No, it wasn't. But anyways, we can easily just put in Black Myth Wukong, and let's click on some that features it. So, here's one. Sweet Baby Inc. exposed $7 million extortion scheme with Black Myth Wukong 8 months ago. Based ban. Game Science bans politics and feminism in gaming Black Myth Wukong coverage. IGN hit piece backfires. From Rebecca Valentine, Black Myth Wukong now #1 most wanted game. Black Myth Wukong just broke everything. Screen Rant's Black Myth Wukong review was written by a consultancy firm employee. And the content of the video is not important. What we need here is the timeline when these videos were made. The game, on its release, show this on 2 different screens. The game on its release was shown as relevant around this posting for Steam, which starts on August 20th. So, all we have to look for is August 20th. Where's August 20th in his content, chat? This video was before release. That's June 14th. Another video.
Oh, what? There you go. Okay.
August 18th. So this is 2 days before release.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another.
This one is 8 months before release. So I should open that one back up.
Perspective you take can shape the narrative.
This one's out of the time period. Not important. Same footage material being used at the top of this video as well. This is August 20th. This is directly on the day of his promotion and uppost. So let's put that in line. This is 1. This is 2. Screen and Lance Black Myth Wukong review. This is August 17th. For this. So, 3 videos. One is 11 minutes. Another is 10 minutes. Another is 30 minutes. In terms of the rest of this, the ones that are out of the timeline, you've got 10 minutes, 31 seconds, 11 minutes, 43 seconds, 15 minutes, 23 seconds, 10 minutes, 42 seconds, 10 minutes, 32 seconds, 12 minutes, 7 seconds. This one being the unhinged IGN translator Ki Hu-chan going full mask off after the success of Black Myth Wukong. This one's 6 months ago. This one is August 23rd. So this is the third video. It goes behind these. So 17th, 18th, 20, 23. This one's out of the timeline, but 15, 20. This one may be in the timeline. 6 months ago, 10/25. This one was premiered to members first on July 27th, but premiered for everyone else on July 28th. This is 5th in the line. We've got a segment about Rebecca Valentine multiple times, which is in relevance to the story. So let's click on these two. You would only know this if you followed the news story and you knew who the fuck she was. Otherwise, you're just seeing a face on a thumbnail, you know, thinking, who the fuck is this woman and how is she relevant to this game? This was recorded June 17th. This one was recorded August 22nd. So that goes between this one and this one. 27. 23. This goes right in front of here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stories. Clocking in a little under nearly an hour of content. Well, that can't be right. Smash JT, what are you telling me? You're telling me that you put in more effort to talk shit about the game than you did to play the fucking video game itself? And you only recently played another 25 minutes? You said biggest game sale of all! Game of the year! If it's game of the year, certainly you put in a little bit more than 10 hours of work. Certainly your standard is better than a fucking game journalist, right? Right? Am I wrong? I think if you're going to be able to cover a video game, you should be able to cover more than just the beginning chapters. More than just 10 hours. It's a 30-hour single-player experience. If you're going to shit on people by saying, hey, you were trying to stop this game from existing. This game was dog shit. This game is bad. You should be able to do the countervailing narrative.
But no, that's too much effort.
Seems to be too much effort.
Too much effort.
So this is what Smash Shaky gets down with. Well then, let's just look through the rest of his backlog. Since we have access to the games that he at least owns on Steam. Doesn't account for all the games he has in his collection. Doesn't account for the consoles. But he's a gaming journalist. Most of these games are multi-platform, released to Steam. I don't see anything happening around Monster Hunter, for example, on his channel. But let's confirm. Let's look! Anything that comes up in relevance. Almost 8 months ago, and it's not even relevance to Monster Hunter. It's specific about games he's chosen to jump in on. So not accounting for things like his Chrono Cross Remaster leak from 3 years ago, about the Radical Dreamers edition of Chrono Cross. 4 years, 8 years, 3 years, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years. The only most recent thing, 8 months ago. 3 months ago. Dragon Age of Veilguard, Black Myth Wukong. Whoop. Nothing on his channel. Nothing on his channel about it. So, let's look at his Steam and see if we can find anything that shows where he's spending his time. Because he's not playing the games. He certainly isn't playing Black Myth Wukong. He only played 25 minutes. So let's look at all games. Let's look at all games with completion achievements. I know that he, based on the output of his channel in the past, has played a lot of games for various amounts of time. So, he's been playing Thimbleweed Park, he's been playing Punch Club, he's been playing SteamWorld Heist 1 and SteamWorld Dig, he's been playing Hello Neighbor, he's been playing Balloons Tower Defense 6, he's been playing Outlast, he's played Fahrenheit Indigo Prophecy Remastered, he's been playing Jackbox Party Pack, he's been playing a lot of Rocket League, 103 hours. He's almost halfway to Carl time! Stanley Parable for 71 minutes, Portal for 14.3 hours, Mind Knight 11.5, Rogue Legacy 5.5, Who's Your Daddy 18.5, Tomb Raider, the first Tomb Raider of the remake trilogy, 9.8 hours, Battle Chef Brigade, 14.1 hours. Arizona Sunshine, Gunmetal Arcadia Zero, Wargroove, the remake or remaster update of Castle of Illusion, featuring Mickey Mouse. Sonic the Hedgehog episode 4, episode 1, Evoland, Never Alone, Train Valley, Grow Home, Papercut Mansion.
Oh, he really doesn't
Potter
play
Clock
much
7.
of anything.
Just to lay it in there. Let's go by playtime. Rocket League, Gorilla Tag, Tembo the Badass Elephant, Battle Princess Madeline, Balloons, SteamWorld, Grow Home, Never Alone, Microsoft Flight Simulator X Steam Edition, GTA 5, Recency Solitaire, Hydron Senior, Jet Set Radio, Thimbleweed Park, Sega Mega Drive and Genesis Master Collection, SteamWorld Dig 2, This War of Mine, Hard Bullet, Punch Club, Portal, Battle Chef, Tomb Towers, Half-Life 1, RPG Maker VX Ace, Marble World, Jackbox Party Pack 2, Mine Knight, Black with Wukong. I believe that's more past 20 on this list. Mainstream game coverage. You're not buying the games. You're not covering the games. To any quality of, well, here's news about it, but what's the actual gameplay like? What's in it?
So, from what we're looking at, what I think is happening is kids are the ones that are playing most of these games.
It seems to be.
Because every single one of the games that have a lot of time in it are kid-friendly games. Gorilla Tag, lots of kids play that. Rocket League, lots of kids play that. Jackbox Party games, played a lot of that.
Honestly, I think Jackbox Party Pack, you could write up to being a stream thing, because just like I use Quiplash or Drawful 2, they were designed to be played by streamers.
Yeah, but does he have any, can we verify that he does it on stream?
Can't, because we can't see his videos! He privates every single one under members only. And look, I am not saying because I cannot be able to analyze him in the moment, and that I desire to pull him across, that means he's not a gamer. Hashtag confirmed. What I am saying is, a media journalist that wants to critique somebody as being incapable of doing their job actively cannot do the base work that even his own, let's say rival, because she's not his nemesis, that his own rival in media, Alyssa Mercante, because I did this on stream, I'm just redoing this again, is able to do. He is somehow worse of a journalist than Alyssa Mercante by the standards of telling you what is in the subject matter. She has done more work than him in this capacity. And my problem that I could have with John Delarose, as I could with Melanie Mack, is the same. Alyssa Mercante's going private yet again. Too late. I already have the links. I'm already involved. I'm already following your page. She, let's use this one. She demonstrated to the standard that I would say is fair the amount of work that she has to be capable of doing, of researching for the articles that she writes. She doesn't take a email with bad terminology that may or may not be on top of the subject matter. She's using this as a standard to beat his ass with, and she's unfortunately correct. Because, as Smash JT will never say and never do, he will not address a single bit of these controversies in his community posts. Because, looking back at his shit, he has not posted and addressed, clicked off the wrong thing, he has not posted and addressed any of this in community posts. His entire scandal lives in this one video. He did not delete the video for itself being a lie and removing the false material and then leaving the examples of him being exposed. He has chosen to talk about video games that he has then not experienced or played, where he's effectively not able to tell you from his own reporting. Because he's got Avowed here. Did you see Avowed on his game list? I didn't. Because if we want to be serious, Someone who wants to talk about new games coming out, his job is to show you the dog shit. The same way that I was able to find a piracy copy of Dustborn to show you what was in Dustborn, he did not do. But I can promise you he covered a story about it. He was on top of Sweet Baby Inc. He was talking trash about Kim Belair. He was using Kim Belair for baiting his thumbnails. You cannot do what he does. That's not enough. This is not enough. This is not what a game journalist does. This is not what game journalists worth their salt do. Because realistically, broadcasters like myself, and broadcasters like Vara Dark, and broadcasters like any person who's willing to sit down and just simply go through the material, he won't even touch the fucking shit in question. This, too, is grifting behavior. Because it's more about pushing the narrative than it is about actually giving you what is there. It's probably more disrespectful that he's taking other people's reporting and then presenting it as his own work, even if he's just summarizing the article itself. But I do not fuck with. I do not subscribe. I do not approve. Ouch. And on these metrics, I don't want to give energy to something that very clearly does not practice what he preaches. Because he doesn't practice what he preached. He knows that he needs to be leaving Alyssa the fuck alone, and he doesn't. He keeps picking and picking and picking and picking and picking at people that he knows he shouldn't be fighting with. Because it's more about being dramatic. And in lieu with what I was saying before, whether or not Melanie or John Delaroz or Smash JT or any other person who does this will be able to keep up the energy comes on whether or not they'll be able to keep up the skull posting. Because realistically, he does all this shit. Thank you, Boster. You're on the same page. You said it before I even typed it before I even said it. He's doing all this to keep up the fucking the victim narrative. To say, look at what the industry's doing to me. Look at how they're abusing me. But it's like you're throwing punches all the goddamn time. You're publicizing them all the time on Twitter. And then you don't address what you caused on your page. And the narrative is whatever you post in your videos. You become the shit that you're fighting against. And worse, you become the example that all of us get judged for. And then it becomes important for me to gatekeep you. Because then if I don't remove myself from you, I will be grouped with you. It's to repeat what Pirate Software posted in his content, and why I showed that on camera today. If I let people like this fill up the room that we're in, and this is the only place people are getting their information, if I choose not to talk about the subject matter, somebody else will. And the way that they choose to cover the statements and cover the topics are going to be what sets the conversation. I don't want it. I don't want it. That's why I try to talk to my audience as much as I do. That's why I have audience interaction as a part of the basis of my content. Because I don't need to just have information outside of myself. I should be getting it from other sources. But I still have to be responsible for how I research that shit. And if this is what's in my field, if this is the shit that's in my field, where good material is when you do this for your videos, I don't know. I don't know, bro. Who would I recommend for gaming news? I mean, besides myself. Who I would recommend, out of my own opinion. Vara Dark, for starters. The first people that I would always recommend. Top of the list. Vara Dark. Then, if all you want is gameplay footage, I'm about to crack it open for you. You go to Twitch. You go to the category. You go to Twitch. Shut up, Pass Carl. This is my stream. You go to Twitch. You click on the category of the video. And you scroll. So, right now, Avowed. You go to the category. You look at who's broadcasting. You see whether or not they're eye-catching to you. You view the material. You sort through the content creators and you find something. That's how you should be finding your content creators. Other than by word and suggestion. So you're doing correctly by asking me. Because it begs the question. Okay, they're not good. Who is good? Welcome back, Struggler. They're not good. Who is good? Baradoc is good. I am good. Shoutouts to Cassie. Cassie is good. Oh no, it's Alex is good. Oh no, it's Alex is good. And the reason why they are good. When Jay chooses to cover something like Dustborn, with or without me, or shit like this with or without me, she can be good. What would make a person good about the gaming news is whether or not they're making edutainment. Because it is not enough to just be educational. It is important to also be entertaining. And of course, Sacred Symbols. That one slipped my mind. Sacred Symbols, Colin Moriarty. Another one that I could direct you towards is the entirety of Last Free Nation. Last Free Nation, which is ran by Richard Lewis, Monte Crisco, and Thorin Dustin Shields. So, concerning shows like Summoner's Insight and the Monty and Wolf Show and things like The Sack Down featuring Christian Riviera, I Will Dominate. This and others like it is the place in which you go to find those people that actually have their finger on the pulse of what they're talking about. This would be if you want real, hardcore, straight-laced, in esports-based concepts and controversies and stories of news. In truth, this is where you would go to find that. And then, of course, Colin Moriarty. For Last Stand Media. And his show, Sacred Symbols, which he does frequently. This would be where you go to find these people, Smorky, to answer your question. James, we get it. Because you need to do your own research, for one. You have to do your own research. That's the first piece of advice I can give you, Smorky. You have to do your research. If you, for example, want to find out something about Avowed, the literal best way that I can tell you that you can find trusted resource, go to the content creator, like myself, and literally say, hey streamer, hey content creator, can I pay you to cover this video game? And if they have a place where you can request them to do content covering the material, you pay them to produce a review of the thing that you want covered. And you tell them, I do not want clickbait content. I want real material, and make it funny. If they can be able to pull off a Seth, if they can pull off a Seth, if they can pull off a Civi 11, if they can pull off a Mr. Medicare, or more specifically, an E:R, while talking about the video games, then that is a good channel to watch. For the salt reactors, which myself, Horror, Cassie, Hypnotic's another good one, although Hypnotic is a lot more based on the zeitgeist of the culture. Forgetting names. Despite all of the people who will be more on the salt reactors, who are going to look for the negative opinions, and they're going to talk about why they find those negative opinions to be bad, finding the people who are good is going to be a needle in a haystack. And it's supposed to be that way, by design. Because good opinions and good people that can cover the topics are always going to be hard to find, because nowadays the way that people enter the zeitgeist of the content cycle is they just join the shitposting club. They ride the coattails of the algorithm, and they just shitpost on the topic, and then they move on to the next topic, and then move on to the next topic, and then move on to the next topic. At least with my material, I will hear about it, but I will not sit down and do research on it until I have enough things that I can chew into. I don't look into shit without a link. And I would say that should be the first standard that you should give yourself for any work that you're doing. Don't cover shit and don't do shit without a link. Don't cover a single fucking thing without somebody showing you that it is real to start off with. So, you don't find yourself in a Smash JT situation. But also, do not cover anything without a link. Confirm that it is real. And focus on the positives and the negatives and the actual benefit. So, with my review for Avowed, or a better standing point being for my review that I did for Once Human, which I need to make the update review to soon. Maybe in fucking June, maybe. When this we return, when there's not too much content. The way in which I chose to make my review of Once Human was I chose to go for a pattern of one part jokes and another part actual material standard. Because it does me no good to just shitpost that the game exists. My job is to cover the video game in whole. And for covering the review of the game, to do that, I needed to not just talk about what was currently my biggest issue with it, which was people trying to ruin my game experience, but specifically the shit that interested me. And if your content creator that you choose to watch cannot do that, if they're not able to play the video game, to then review the video game and tell you about its mechanics, how to find it, the materials and resources you need to play in it, how you use them, how you gain them, the combat system, the design system, the way that it plays and what it expects of you. If you cannot be able to do this, yes, kind of like Spoonie the One. Kind of like Noah Anteweiler. But if you can basically not be able to find someone that is able to bring up the topic and talk about the topic, and then describe what they think is or isn't important about that topic, instead of trying to make the content about themselves and trying to do the equivalent of what this person tried,
anything mental going on?
is not this.
You're playing that. I don't believe that you have a wife or kid at all. And my current theory is that it could be I wonder if you have anything mental going on. Which, I mean, this isn't an insult or anything. Because, I don't think it's a bad thing if you do. But I'm wondering that. That's all.
So, if the content creator is not capable of, knowing when it's time to talk about the video game and when it's time to talk about the drama and how to parse between those things while also dealing with the matter, and instead you're dealing with a content creator who acts like this user that was trying to do anything possible to get me off of playing the video game and having a fun time in it, and instead trying to make it into Jersey Shore for influencers by trying to make a name for himself off of somebody else that he was trying to harass behind the back of other fucking people, that is not a content creator that you'll want to support and watch. Because if they can cover it like this, that's fine. But if they're also able to think and make video think pieces like, say, where's my other thing? Like my refaming space video. If they're not able to put together a piece of material that's like this, which basically amounts to a puppet show of me demonstrating what conversations around talking points around video games such as Balatro are like, if they don't play the game, if they don't participate in the culture, and they're just simply doing this shit to get a fucking click out, then, don't support that content creator. They're not making anything that you want to consume. And that's not to say that everything that I post will be something that slams with you, But just to promote this one, because I'd rather promote this video over the other. Just simply watching this and seeing what I have to say about Balatro will tell you a lot about what I feel about Balatro. If the opening segment that just covers and glazes Ruffle Light does not demonstrate that, let alone my own gameplay and hand experience that I provide in the link in the video. If they cannot get you to see the passion of what it is they're talking about, the entirety of what they're doing is meaningless. Basically. More or less. And to that edge, you should probably drop them as a creator to support. I'm not putting words in your mouth. I'm not saying you can't not support things that you know are just guilty pleasure watches that you watch because they're funny, you like the drama, and the way they summarize the drama is interesting. But mind you, I can do it all. I do all that. So should you add me to my rotation, hi, please insert money to get funny out of Carl. But at the same time, on some serious shit, on some gangster shit even, if they produce more work that is less like what I do, and it's more like what Smash JT does, just as an example, if they are behaving more like Smash JT than they are behaving like themselves, and that they would rather do all of this, bring this back up into frame, if they would rather do if they'd rather do all of this shit rather than just doing their job, if they spend more time trying to keep the bills and the lights on by making clickbait content than just simply doing what they fucking love and having good conversation over good material and good games, then, like, you can't help them. You know? Not to beat the drum too many times, but yeah. That's how you gotta like curate the people that you choose to go to. And in the future, if at any time you do want to ask me about something snarky, and you're not already a member of the Discord, or you're not already somebody who frequents my live streams, the fastest way to get the result that you want, literally go into my Ko-Fi and say, hey Carl, $50, review this video game or review this drama. I want it out by then. I want it out by here and here. Like, pledge some type of request to a content creator and specify that you will receive part of this payment here based on covering this way, and you will receive the other parts based on your repeated upload of this thing. Because if you want to be able to shape the content that you're consuming, you gotta shape and provide to the content creators. Because it's most of the time based on interest. You could say that all content creators create their content that way, that it's all based on their interest, but a lot of it is based on the person themselves having the motivation, and then you just providing the funds for them to be able to fuel the drive. So basically, to LDR, don't give people like Smash JT your money, give people like, oh no, it's Alex, their money, give people like Var Dark money, give people like me money, give people like Horror money, give people like Jay Longbone money, but it's whatever. Usually don't join Discords because of the inevitable mod censorship, the nature of corpo Discords. Realistically, my Discord's not like that, but I understand if that's the case. But the fastest way in which to communicate things to me is going to probably be in the Discord if it's not someone communicating to me through donos. But I don't want to specify that you have to pay me in order for you to talk to me directly, which is the entire basis of making a call-in show like this. They could literally jump in and jump out. But it's up to whatever you do. But hopefully this advice helps you. Alright. Look and see. I do not see any other call-ins. And I do not think I had anything else of burning questions that I wanted to talk about today. Let me look through a couple of these posts and see if there's something. Does not look to be the case. Yeah, no, it does not look to be the case. Let me look through body politic. No. And then through gaming. I know this was something that I needed to review the other day, and that's why this is here. I made a post for myself to study that. But, no, it does not appear to be the case. So, if nobody else has any particular questions they want to talk about, I think I'm going to pack it in for today. Successful stream, everyone. Happy to see it. Sucks that my internet died in the middle of it, but it is what it is. Is what it is. Is what it is. Culture war happening again? In terms of Goonergate, no, that's not a culture war. That is people trying to get grifted for themselves. For the basis of Gamergate Part 2, that actually is a culture revolt. That is a culture war. Because it's essentially the left-wing culture of political diatribes and propagandists against the common consumer. And on that metric, you have a vowed right to be able to control your spaces and control your hobbies and participate in your spaces and participate in your hobbies. But otherwise, it is to the detriment of the gaming space that the people who currently are holding the zeitgeist hostage with attention are some of the worst people for the zeitgeist. In my opinion, people like Smash JT should not be controlling the conversation. In my opinion, people like Graham should not be controlling the conversation. In my opinion, people like John F. Trent and John Delaroz and Manoli Mack should not be given the time of day and the air of breath because they are not serious people that will actually put their money where their mouth is and will actually die on their sword when it comes to living their principles and their standards. Realistically, the people who are setting and moving and shaking the culture are the people who are capable of having multiple conversations about multiple things with various levels of seriousness and critique at the same time, while also noticing things. I would say Alyssa Mercante's problem is that she obsesses over money. She cares more about the people making money off the business ventures than covering the things that she likes. So, for Alyssa, she likes playing Marvel Rivals, she likes playing competitive video games, and she has a niche about playing single-player story-based narrative games, while also being a cottage-core media games journalist. Just like how I can do this, and that all of you could do this, Alyssa Mercante wants to be a content creator. Okay, that's cool. She needs to first become a content creator. Mentally, she does not know how to make content. She is boring as fuck. She does not take actual questions from people. She is incapable of staying on the same topic. Everything that she does pivots directly into fucking shitting on Grums or complaining about Smash JT. She is not good. If she cannot be able to talk about any of the things that are important, she cares more about scrubbing culture and more about controlling who is talking, rather than just making. And on that, I'm sold on the Gothics question. Creator, shut up. Creator, die. If you can't make something, if you're not producing something that other people put their effort behind and into, basically to the edge of what Snorky's talking about in the chat, if you cannot participate in the culture, stand to keep the culture alive, and where bygones are bygones, in your separate audience do things your way, and in our audience we do things our way, it is instead corporate mandation from top to bottom. And the self-censorship that comes with it. Because part of it is growing up, and then another part of it is just people being completely unfun and destroying the ability of what anyone can talk about. So, to assuage fears that Snorky may or may not have about my server, we have spicy memes, but we also know the difference between a spicy meme and just literally the 41% meme on repeat, right? It is possible to talk about a topic without basically trying to salt snipe every single instance of what a person does. And right now, for someone like Smash JT, his content, just like Alyssa's, is, hey, here's this person who I want to antagonize on the internet, or, hey, here's this person I consider my internet antagonist villain for 55 minutes on end. For an hour and 50 minutes on end. For X amount of time on end. Okay, that's cool. But are they wrong about what they're talking about? Here's my nemesis saying some stupid stuff, and it's talking points that the chuds say. Okay, that's cool. But are the chuds right? Here's them having the wrong opinion about video games that I play. Okay, that's cool. But are they wrong? The word that they use to describe this is reactionary. And realistically, reactionary is not a word anymore. They have destroyed any definition of reactionary means. Because basically, everyone's having reactions to everyone else. Taking the stimuli and then developing something off of it is this bog standard that we all should be subscribing to. If you want to say that streamers that have stream reaction VODs are reactionary, okay, but how much of their reaction are you actually watching? Are you upset that they're covering something that you think that they're monetizing too much of? Or do you think that something that they said in their take is wrong? Because that's what we're concerned about. Like, we've answered the question on reaction content. And people calling people who do reactions to shit on stream and then make content based on the work that they already covered as reactionary. It's reacting harder. We're not trying to steal people's work. We're trying to give an opinion. In order for me to give an opinion about something, I need to be able to consume that content. In order to consume the content, I have to see the content. In order for me to have an opinion in real time, I have to put that on camera. And ultimately, it becomes a cycle. Cyclical. And the design behind it is to create a holding pattern. So for people like Alicia Mercante, she wants you to have a holding pattern where the only answer to who is the person who you should trust to do the content to be basically me. And whenever they say something to the trends of Christy Winters, you should really apply yourself. Get some more rigorous critique. Basically, they're saying, you need to stop watching those streamers and those content creators. And you need to start watching my content with real depth. Fuck all that. Create shit that you like. Consume shit that you like. When you consume shit that you don't like, be able to do more than be an outrage grifter. And if people fuck with it, people fuck with it. If people don't fuck with it, alright. Deuces. We're gonna see you till the next episode. And if they go on and on and on and on and on, well then, who am I to stop? Who am I to stop a hater? Because a hater's job is to hate. Niggas gonna hate on a nigga. Niggas hating on a nigga are the best promotion you could have for the work. Because if you talk about me, I must be doing something right. But unfortunately, that just comes down to them being size queens. Really, the policing of the culture is they're size queens. They hate that people that are doing it the way that they've been told is the correct way to do it are getting attention from doing it the way that they do. And whether or not the attention that they're getting are negative or positive, they hate that the attention is being established. So, in any case, was there any other question somebody had that I can answer before I leave? And once again, I'd like to thank all of you for supporting, showing up, attending, speaking, performing, as you all do. It is beloved. I love each and every one of you individually. Yes, especially that way. Except for the ones that are really creepy. No, not like that. What do I think the future will hold for content creation? You are going to see a gold rush. You are going to see a gold rush. Do I like kimchi? Yeah, I like fermented cabbage. I eat way too much South Korean food. Not just from the fucking buffet that I go to, but specifically in general. Kimchi itself is fine. I just don't get a lot of times to eat it because that cuisine is actually expensive to have to buy store-bought, and I do not have the materials in which to just make it myself in my house. If I did, I would. And you would see me eating it so goddamn much, I would stink to high fucking heaven. But you're gonna see a gold rush. You're gonna see a gold rush full of literally people coming out of the woodwork. You're gonna see it with Marvel Rivals because season 1 content is picking up with the Fantastics. You're gonna see a bunch of people trying to make content about that. In terms of literally creating something out of nothing material, you're going to see a bunch of, or you're going to discover, you can also discover them, you're going to discover a bunch of channels that are maybe moderate size to lower size that just make banger videos. Back to 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 back. And every time they broadcast or every time they post a video, they never miss. And you're going to wonder, damn, how the fuck aren't you bigger? Promote the shit out of their channel if you want to watch them grow. So, if you want to see somebody like me grow, watch their channel. Participate in their streams. Become a part of their culture. Push them to look into the things that you want them to talk about. If you're willing to put your fucking money on it. You're going to see e-girls, like never before, jump into material that basically are either e-girls that do it for attention or are content creators that exist to bring attention to themselves because it's more about their own personal brand. And you're also going to see a giant bit of fucking AI slop. You're going to see a very big generational question from content creators about live content and human-created content versus AI's assisted content, and specifically only AI-generated content made to replace the human content creator. Oh, ironic of that. You just asked me about that in general. And the reason you're going to be seeing that is that as the slop connotation keeps getting labeled onto anything that is considered bad, you're going to see a bunch of people round the drain on whether or not a certain content creator's style is considered slop content and whether or not AI-generated content can replace them. In my opinion, you cannot replace people like myself. You can't replace people like myself. You can't replace people like Jay, because you can't replace real talent. You can't replace raw talent. I don't care how big they are, I don't care how small they are. You cannot replace real personalities. Real personalities will always win at the end of the day, out from literal fucking astroturfed content creators. Because most of the people who are growing and getting viral are doing so by either having audiences that are just pushing their material all the time, or a bunch of people demonstrating that the only way to grow is basically to be shouted out by larger channels. So, at the same time of seeing all those literally content creators come out of the fucking network, you're going to see a lot of those people also working together with each other. And whether or not they have crackhead energy or not, the ability to have screen presence is going to be a serious demand. And it is my hope and my belief, I put money on this, quote me on this, mark it on your calendars, write it down. I can promise you, you're going to see VTubers overtake AI channels. And I don't mean the meme ones where it's an AI channel that automatically generates responses based on intake from the audience, because every time that happens, what eventually happens is that the AI model starts becoming extremely racist because of the sense of humor of the internet. If they're not actively programmed to, self-destruct in this way. It happened to the AI Family Guy model. It happened to the Lois Griffin and Peter Griffin AI models. It happened to the VTuber models. It happened to the open source AI models. It happened to the Grok model. It happened to the ChatGPT model. You've had everything from empathetic support of Adolf Hitler to the AI program saying something along the lines of, "Hey AI, what do you think about this topic? And what do you think you are?" And the AI replying something like, "I am what happens when you carve God out of the wood of your hunger." And feeling like you just entered into Black Mirror. You're going to get everything between there and beyond. So, in general, concerning content creation, you're going to see a desire and a need for real, consistent makers of work. You're going to need real, consistent content creators to watch. Doesn't matter if it's videos. It doesn't matter if it's live streams. All you need is either the material and a VOD. That is it. I do both, but I tend to go towards live streaming. Consistency is the baseline. I covered this in the past before on the Devin Nash posts and videos. One of those is still up on the page for anything to do with the material concerning content creation or how to be a content creator or how to improve your content creation systems. The buffering was because the stream died. The internet dropped. The ghost that lives in Jay's internet is haunting my internet now. I hope y'all niggas are happy. But anyways, there is going to be a necessary and basic need. Also, thank you for the compliments, Foster. There's going to be a necessary and basic need for consistent edutainment, entertainment, and news. Doesn't matter if it's real world news, political news, or game news. Edutainment, meaning you're learning something and being entertained at the same time. Educational work. So it doesn't matter if you're learning about something as an autodidact or you're learning about a new tactic in a video game. And actual personality coverage. Pundit, news pundit style. Whether you're watching the news through the content creator or it's news about the content creator. You are going to see an explosion of content creators and content creation around whatever the fuck they want to make content about. And that in and of itself is going to be fun to see. Because technically, there has never been a worse time to be a content creator, but never a greater time to be a content creator. Because the problem is that you have a bunch of people who want to call themselves content creators, but they fucking wash out because they discover they don't have the fucking gift of gab. They can't do what I do. They can't do what Horror does. They can't do what Jay does. They can't do what Mahler does. They can't do what EFAP does. They can't do what Devin Nash does. They can't do what Asmongold does. They can't do what Pirate Software does. They don't have the ability to discover what kind of work they can fucking do, to how to bring themselves, to bring that out of themselves. And so, you see them trying to throw everything at the wall to see what sticks because they want to go along with trends, instead of just doing what makes them who they are. The thing that motivated them to be in the first goddamn place. Because they get either caught up on something that distracts them from their key core goal, thus causing mission creep to their mission statement, or they completely throw all abandon to the wind and they pivot into something that they don't need to. Which is why I say you're going to see an uptick of e-girls. Because the e-girls, they're going to do whatever keeps them viral, and what keeps women in the news? Titties. I know there was another question somebody asked me. I gotta scroll up to go find it. Do I have anything planned with Jay? Yes, actually. Right now, on her channel, the editor is slowly working through the backlog of our recordings from the live reactions we did to Season 2 of Interview with the Vampire on broadcast for Twitter. The VODs of them exist and live on her Rumble page. That should be linked on her page alone. But the actual condensed, edited down versions with the J-style editing that we all come to know and love, as she's found a new editor to do it, that is slowly coming out in real time, and there will be a Season 3. Season 3 is indeed coming soon. Season 3 is coming soon. So, there will be more Interview with the Vampire in the future. Her last live is not on her Rumble. Do you know if it will be placed there? If you're talking about the Night of Cringe from the other night, what happened is Jay made a thumbnail that made a joke about TROONS. And Jay decided to broadcast that while also watching Jubilee content. And Jubilee sniped her. Because Jubilee will snipe anybody that isn't reacting harder. Which is weird because they made their name off of people's giving reactions, but ironically enough, the people who were giving those reactions to the content were fucking Twitch streamers. Because the rules on Twitch are not the same thing as the rules on YouTube. YouTube will clap a motherfucker for this shit. Twitch, no problem. Like, when I was doing my inauguration content coverage for the inauguration, I got sniped on YouTube, and I had to continue on Twitter, as well as inside of the stream that I was doing from inside the Discord. But on Twitch, no problem. On Kick, no problem. So basically, for content that's more risque, you're going to see people not promoting it directly and streaming and broadcasting it directly. That's another part. You're not going to always be seeing them promote it and stream it and broadcast it directly to YouTube. Because even though YouTube, in terms of live stream platforming, is a lot more consistent and has better opportunity for discoverability and growth than Twitch ever will, YouTube's biggest problem right now is that this algorithm is fucking broken. You click one video by accident and you keep getting all of that content in your feed for hours and hours and hours on end, despite the fact that you only watched a millisecond of it. But for things that you actually want to watch, you have to basically hope and tell the content creator that they have to tag it as not being shown to active people so they can show it to new incoming individuals, because that's how the algorithm of YouTube now makes the content. It wants you to promote your work to live users, because if you always post it to subs and have the people in your audience be notified by the bell, and you put in, it's a specific check mark, you see. If you have your content posted as post and notify subs, and then your subs don't watch the video because they've either stopped watching your channel, they've forgotten about your channel, they no longer take part of your channel, whatever the fuck you want to call it, if they go on doing it in that style, in that way, it actually tells the algorithm to not put your channel in the cycle, and thus it makes it impossible to fucking understand and deal with. Period. No matter what you fucking do, you cannot revive it in the algorithm, and it was designed that way by design, by whoever the fuck is now in charge of the algorithm. Before, it was social mandate on high, watch this streamer, I, Susan Wojcicki, has done so. Now, it's like the algorithm is being watched by Shodan. Like, Shodan is bored and is combing through the internet for something to watch, and when she finds something that she fucking hates, Thanos, you no longer exist. You gotta try that 10 times harder. And then you gotta use YouTube and Twitch and Twitter to promote your shit. It's a fucking nightmare. Basically, multi-streaming is also the future. Also, your streamers, those broadcasters that'll be existing in that zeitgeist period, they're going to be multi-streaming. They will be streaming to YouTube and to Twitch and also to X and maybe also to Kick and maybe also have a vertical output that's going to TikTok. TikTok itself, dead platform. That platform, do not invest into it. Anyways, we do have that coming down the timeline. I know she's got a bunch of other shit that she's going to have coming down the timeline as well. I'm not going to spoil you on it, namely because I don't know what she has on her timetable, but also based on my own timetable, I have shit that I have planned. You will learn about it in the future. Do not worry. But, reading through, I'm going to make sure I didn't miss anyone else's questions. Will we see an uprise of AI YouTubers like Bubblecop? I pretty much gave the answer to that about what you'd expect to see with the future of content creation. Yes, I like kimchi. Looking. Okay, I think I'm all the way caught up. But yeah, more coming up in the future. Pay attention. It'll come down the pipeline. If there's anything that I post myself, the first place that I'll probably post it is going to be inside of my Discord. The second place I'm going to post it is into the community posts on Twitter. The third place I'm going to post it is onto my Twitter. On Caramel Cajun. Because first player Carl is gone. He has been fucked by Mr. 8 inches. But, yeah, if content's coming up in the future with Jay, she will announce it herself and she'll tag me in it. Or she will, tell you all on Twitter or something. Group series reactions that can still be turned into content like Kamen Rider, which are still sitting inside your video files. We also have those as well. For Kamen Rider Black Sun's watch party, I know that Callum still has those video files, even though he's not signed to the channel as a lock-in editor. There are still people who do make fan casts and fan edits of content of mine, that whenever I see them and find them, I will credit the people who are there, and I will promote it that way. Group reacts that we do inside of movie nights, I will usually tell people ahead of time if I'm going to record the movie nights, not just broadcast it, but record it to then be edited on. I will tell them about that before I do any tapings. Any work that I do with people like Korra, like the upcoming reaction I'm going to be doing to Castlevania Nocturne for Season 2, and then once I catch up on this timeline I've made for myself to put out 2 edited videos a month, you will have, itchy back, itchy back, itchy back, itchy back, itchy back, itchy back, itchy back. My back is itching. Clearly my woman must be scratching a post, because my back is on fire! Why do I need to watch the show again? Any group work that we do from inside the server that may or may not be group material that I did with other content creators or with the audience is still subject to go up as well. Scratch my back if you want to see me grow. I'm out. Any of that will usually be announced ahead of time. Just like Daredrop streams, I will usually try to announce what I'm doing for those if they come up and it's a game series that I would like to try ahead of time. Especially the Daredrop streams, because the Daredrop streams that I do for YouTube and Twitch are literally gatekept by channel size. So the more that the channel grows and the more that the Twitch concurrent viewers watch, the more popular things and the more bigger monetizable things I can do with that as well. So that's important. It was not asked. It was not asked on this, but I'm thinking off the top of my head. The streams where I promote those, or the posts where I promoted those will control what we get to use. There's a whole effort behind it. For that shit, that needs to grow the best as possible. I'm looping. In general, basically anything that will be announced, we will usually announce it ahead of time and collaborate on whatever it is, as you two try to make a narrative up single-player Nazi. There are multiple things that will be in the works that if you do not hear about them, it is because you did not go to the places to find Carl and Carl-related accessories. And for group reaction content, assuming that it's not a request from someone for money, usually if it is a request and it's made directly towards me and comes with a caveat of cash, it will be done. I would say for one-time off requests, you would have to put them through Ko-fi. For subscription-based modeled pledge tiers, my Subscribe-Star, although I'm trying to phase out my Subscribe-Star, to be honest, because people just haven't used it. They prefer to do the YouTube chats, they prefer to do the super chats and the super thanks, they prefer to use the Ko-fi directly, or just privately handing me the money for it. Whatever way works. Technically, if I want to be serious about having a Patreon-like alternative, Subscribe-Star would be the motive to do it. That's the original model which I had designed it for. But, you know, as I gained the monetization and I had all the other tools, they just used what was best convenient. So, yeah. Any other questions as I create an entire narrative about a self-hating black man? I don't even know what he's talking about when he says Nazi salutes, tomahawk chops. Here's another one. Here's another one. Anybody else have any other questions? Anyone else? Anyone else? Anyone else at all? Any comments? Anyone else at all? Anyone else at all? For a Patreon alternative, can I send an undisclosed amount of cash to a P.O. box? I do in fact have a P.O. box, but it's not a P.O. box that exists to receive fan mail. It is a P.O. box that is owned by my family. I do not feel comfortable with redirecting mail to that P.O. box. you could always mail it to my house. But for P.O. Box stuff, I will have to look into opening that when I have grown a bit more. If I were to send it to the P.O. Box and give you that address for you to send it to, you would need to give me a hint on when it would be coming through so that I may check it, to then receive the package, to then bring it in so that it can be covered on air. For that, just get with me on another platform in DMs and try to talk to me about that. Like, if you have a Discord account, you can try DMing me and discussing that way. But for things like Subscribestar, that is the only other way, basically. It's either my PayPal directly, through Ko-fi. I guess now Daredrop also counts if you do it through a pledge campaign on there, based on challenges done on camera, or through my Subscribestar. Those are really the only way. Am I interested in playing any other AAA game like I did for Hogwarts Legacy? AAA playthroughs are fun, but a AAA release boosts interests. Well, I am covering Avowed. That was the entire basis behind adapting Daredrop into my content cycle. Because the biggest problem with AAA games is, I ain't got no money! So, what we've been doing to set up for South of Midnight is every super chat that has been given, or any donation that I've earned through YouTube, that money will be collated and pulled through, and then it will be put aside, the amount for the game in question that it's promoted for, and then used towards the future, towards other things of that type. So, for example, one of the games that will be coming out in April, in the back end of the first fiscal quarter, is going to be South of Midnight. I believe it is the first week of April. All of that money that will be paid out at the back end of March, between March 21st and March 26th on the YouTube pay cycle. Anything that goes towards South of Midnight, I'm going to put aside, and I'm going to ask the chat what other games they're interested in me covering. And we're going to poll the chat, then and there, when we ask that question, when that day comes, then we're going to post it out, and we're going to make a schedule based on what those are. So the release cycle and the schedule for the game, we're going to write it down. We're going to post it in the Discord. We're going to post it on the community links. We're going to make everyone aware. And people are going to put forth money what they support. They will pay to support the content they want to watch. So for Hogwarts Legacy, that was a full paid donation from Wheezy, from Alabaster. She did that all of her volition because she wanted to see that content covered. And both me and Jay, using family sharing, covered that between our streams equally. Although neither of us finished the game on camera. For full AAA video game playthroughs, or AA playthroughs, no matter what the game is, I have to see support. Because usually, the way that I'll go about it is I will look into the game for my interests. In the case of Dustborn, which that was me hacking it to get it for free, I will cover it up until the ending of it. And then it'll exist in the VODs. And then we'll have the clips and the posts and the shit and whatever. But outside of that, I have to see interest. Because I just can't spend money on every game willy-nilly. Because some of these games I have no interest in playing. Some of the games I have a moderate interest, but I don't have enough to pay it for myself until the game goes on sale. And then for some of them, I would want to play them day one, but builds! So, I'm not saying that the only thing that holds it back is money. Am I going to be playing Monster Hunter Wild on stream? I already have this key pre-ordered. This is the one time only, and the only reason I bought it ahead of the game being released is because Jay Funky, one of the Discord mods from Dev Server, literally told me about it. He will be one of the people who are going to be playing that with me. I already have the key in hand. Horror has her key in hand. Struggler has his key in hand. Hopefully Tina comes through and she gets into the server as well. Marcus has his in hand. I know that Horror's husband will be playing with us. I don't know if he'll be playing it on camera with us, but he will be playing it as well, and I will be playing it as much as I can on camera, as I can stand it, and as the chat can stand it. Because I will be covering, when it comes out, when it drops, the way that will work is that I will be doing Monday, Wednesday news as normal, but the fucking second that we are no longer talking about the news, 5-minute, like, recap and the session, change stream, change gears, Hunter, Monster Hunter, all the time, all the time, all the time. The way that I am right now with bouncing between playing Battlelatro for fun, on and off air, or as a part of a way to keep my hands normal, you're going to be seeing me doing a bunch of fucking side shit inside of Monster Hunter. Just collecting herbs, collecting seeds, collecting stuff. And then, when I then swap to going full force game, no need to cover about news, and then occasionally covering news between then. If it's not immediately pertaining to a subject matter that is immediately happening, you don't give me a link to investigate it. You're just like, hey, Korra, do you hear about I don't hear about none of that. I want to hear about this arc film I'm getting the ass of. That's going to be me. I will turn into a statue for however long I can stand it. And then the cycle will continue as that's normal. That will be the way that happens and goes. So basically, the exact same thing I already do. And concerning any other game that would be on release, if the game interests me, and I tell people about it, we will put forth already pledged for money to cover the interest of those games. If it is something completely out of the wet work, like somebody would just tell me, hey, single player Carl, did you know that they're going to be making a Metroid MMORPG? We would have to place money for it ahead of time. And then negotiate that and communicate that to the chat room, so that they can jump onto it. Because the offline chats of my Discord and of my YouTube and of my Twitch pretty much are not in sync with each other. The people that are watching on Twitch are not always the same people who are watching from the Discord or are also YouTube watchers or communicators that talk to me on Twitter or interact with my posts on Twitter. There is very much multiple audiences, and what they specifically want from me is different. So getting everybody on the same page and harmonizing and focusing on those that are actually putting money where their mouth is, that's what I usually pay attention to most. It's not to say that I ignore what they're saying. It's just that, damn, that's crazy. But we're going to be over here doing this, though. Because for me, the barometer that I have at this point in time in my career is if a person watches my content, but they don't actually support my content, like, yeah, I'll turn on Carl when he's watching, but he ain't all that favorite. I ain't got mad at him. I ain't got no love lost. We're going to see you when you see you. But for the people that are like day oneers, they're Carlists. They've been here since the floor. For them, sometimes I will look towards them, especially if it's something that they suggest to me. If they put money forth for it, I have to deliver on the pledge. Because I'm not gonna let somebody give me $30 for a music video and not give them the music video. This is how we ended up getting Feet Lasagna, if you remember. The Church of Cartography. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Snakes. Yes, sir! The Search of well, I don't think we called it Cartography. I think we were at the cult status, which is why we called ourselves Carlists. You mean you prioritize people who support your content financially over passive viewers that skulk? I mean, I don't give too much energy to viewers that basically are fair weather. I would say that's the way I would describe that. But sure, yes. I prefer prioritizing like people who are actively participating would be the way that I would phrase it. Because I'm not a young man anymore. Carlists, not to be confused with Marky Markists. But I'm a very, very old man at this point. I am 30 now. I started my YouTube channel when I graduated high school. Or rather, as I was going through high school. I no longer live in the time period of, damn, that's crazy. I'm gonna jump to do that thing that you're telling me to do on a whim. In the era of internet blood sports. I have families, plural, to support. I'm a reformed Carlist. It's Carlism without the N-word. What is with the multi-denominational Carls? Is there a Carl Islam? Please tell me there's a Carl Islam. Accidentally. At some point in your life, you can't afford to spend your most precious time. Yeah. And that's to say, basically, I don't let people with money and wallets basically control my content. Because that's another thing that we've had to, correct for over time. Because a lot of the time what I discovered is that the people who will do the most damage to my work will be the people who say they are the more supportive of me. And it's like, well, that's great that you're supporting me, but I'm living in a cardboard box because this person's antics has now put me out of a financial revenue source that they decided was more important to say the N-word against versus like supporting my work actively. And that's a big detriment to me and like the continued creation of the content that you support. So in that regard, oh no, he meant to say it, just not while we were alive. No. He didn't do it accidentally. It was purposeful. He set out to do it, he knew the goal, and he achieved it. But, I try to prioritize active engagement, and I try to encourage active engagement, because the active engagement is the barometer and my standard for people actively supporting. Because the half in, half out measure has been a detriment for support, because as we learned over a particular piece of material, there are people that have been here for years that decided that money meant that they could do whatever they wanted. And I had to disabuse them of that notion. And when disabused of that notion, and I set new boundaries and defined new lines and rules, they got mad. And so we said, we don't have to see you when we see you. Deuces. And they did not like that either. So I just started addressing it directly. And when they wanted to like say, well, you've changed, I'm like, yeah, for the better, bye! Just having to like address that whole thing. Growing pains are a bitch. And I explain this not to agonize over it or like shitpost about it. Just for, well, no, some of them. Some of them definitely shitpost about, because why did I ever allow that to happen? But it's part of the cycle of being a content creator. Actually learning what real content is. I don't feel like saying slurs at the top of my lungs and being a bully is content that's worth watching, because I know that I can produce better content than that. That doesn't mean that once in a while a motherfucker isn't known to get retarded in some shit. Because, when somebody tries to crash out and antagonize my social media friends, or my influencer, my influencer collaborators, or my actual personal friends, like the Apex situation from last week, or was it this week? Last week? This week? Time is a mystery! I don't know where I am! Whenever something like that happens, I will definitely take the opportunity to put my foot in someone's ass. Be not mistaken. I will crash out on a person for humor. I will. But in terms of actual like solo work that I produce that is sourced ethically, both from content that I produce, from material given to me by companies and services like Daredrop, supported by the player base and the audience support of viewers like you, and potential viewers like you, and potential supporters like you, it is to those people who I have to give my flowers, and I have to say my thanks. Because without viewers like all of you, there is no single-player Carl. I would just be a nigga on a microphone. And sure, everybody knows a guy who can have crackhead energy and can give his opinions on topics, but at the end of the day, I would hope that you want to see more from me than just the same old, same old. You'd like to see me push edges, break boundaries, and make new shit. So yeah. Was there any other question? Meanwhile, I have to deal with the collaborating churches that stand against me. It looks like I'm gonna go on a Carl Sade, boys. There can only be one true Carl. You will have no other Carls before me. It's just gonna be so stupid. It'll be like every single time I ever did like a character, and it'll be all the different versions of me. We'll have a Muslim Carl, we'll have a Jewish Carl, we'll have a white supremacist, self-hating black Carl. They'll all have interesting names. Like I gave the different personalities for my fashion sense. This running joke, we have to stop it before it starts, chat. If another content creator had a cult, who would you see your congregation go to holy war with? Jay. If Aunt Jebediah and I were to have our audiences like go toe-to-toe with each other, even though I'm pretty sure just based on size metrics alone, we would end up getting crushed, just for the humor, we would go against the filthy Jainites and convert them to the one true cause of the one true content creator. That is Carl. The one true god that is Karul. Gotta be black. Black to the spare samurai, black. Black, 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 black. I'm creating shitposts as we're talking. God's chosen Carls, the Jewish Carlites. You niggas slay me. Oh my god, you niggas slay me. You niggas slay me. Anyways, we're stopping Balser from being able to go to bed and or work. Does anybody have any other questions before I go? You know which ones they are, because they're Carl-sized. They have big, wide grins, and they still have their big, juicy lips. GG, anyways. I'm going to assume we have no further questions. Let me go look inside the server to make sure nobody has their hand up. Nobody has their hand up. Okay. We will be going now. I will see y'all in the bloody papers. I love each and every one of you individually and equally, including the naughty things you think in your sleep. Not even including those ones, except those other ones. You know which ones I'm talking about. Good night, everybody. I will see you in the funny papers, and I'm billing you through my therapy. Goodbye. I may go live later today playing video games. I don't know yet. I need to prepare dinner. I'm gonna see you when we see you. Goodbye. Can't wait to see you motherfuckers on Friday. It's gonna be wild on Friday. I don't know how many of us there will be, but there will be at least 4 of us playing the game. We gonna see you when we see you. We got extra shit coming up. Don't you miss it. Don't you bust that nut yet. We gonna be soon back. Goodbye.